from a snowy US National Cyclocross Championship in Hartford, Connecticut, US. This is the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show.
Coming up this week, we have the key to cycling longer, faster, and more frequently, according to Strava. Anyway.
We also have more on the Zwift Academy controversy.
When it is not Dan lying about his height.
Not again, anyway, no. Tom Pidcock shows who's boss. Cav might have finally found his home for 2023, and there's a great sounding new cycling development over in the USA.
And, as you can see, Dan has made it back for the Christmas show. It's like finding a little present tucked underneath the Christmas tree, isn't it?
Well, I've got big boots tucked under the table here.
Yeah, it's nice to have you back, mate.
This week in the world of cycling, we learned that Mathieu van der Poel is scared of something, and no, it's not cycling.
Oi!
No. Racing on ice is what he's scared of. The treacherous conditions at the Cyclocross World Cup in Italy on Saturday saw him looking like a mere mortal, in contrast to Michael van Torenhout and Puk Pieterse, who won their respective events. Actually, he probably is scared of Cy, though.
I said, put your saddle on doing it.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry.
What was all that about?
Well, it was just there, wasn't it? I just couldn't resist giving it, like a little bit of a polish.
I thought Manon had done a pretty good job of stopping you from being too creepy over at the Zwift Academy this year. But she can't work miracles, I guess.
No, she cannot work miracles. Right, anyway, nice to have you back, Dan. Right, we also learned that Dan actually isn't just back at GCN Megabase, but you're also back in the saddle as well, aren't you, mate? I saw your post at the weekend. Nice work. PB power numbers on your first ride back.
Yes. Nearly 1 watt per kilo for 15 minutes. I'm quite happy with that.
Should be.
We also learned this week that the UK's first cycling roundabout that we told you about last week was not actually finished, but thanks to Harry Gray on Twitter, we can see that now. Here it is. Ta-da!
Wow! All that white paint has really made a difference, I think. Hopefully there won't be too many traffic jams there as riders spend 40 seconds trying to read all of the text.
It looks absolutely terrifying.
It does, doesn't it? But again, we've got to reiterate here, good that money is being spent on infrastructure, even if some of it is completely baffling. And I've got a lot of sympathy, it's got to be said, for people working in local authorities, underfunded, understaffed, but people genuinely trying to do their best.
Yes. Happy Christmas.
Yes. No Scrooges here this time of year anyway. And not today. Anyway. Right. Always a mini highlight of the year this. Strava announced their annual learnings from the hundreds of millions or so uploads that they get each and every year.
I uploaded my ride at 1 watt per kilo. I wonder what they learned from that. I know this year's BFNs, or big flipping numbers, were strangely absent actually, but nonetheless, there were some gems within it. Like the fact that rock climbing and stair stepping were the 3rd and 4th fastest growing sports on Strava.
How on earth do you get a nice looking map from either rock climbing or stair stepping? Both would be like dots on a map.
But you definitely would not want to be the fastest on the downhill segments in those sports, would you?
Well, as long as someone presses stop for you when you've reached the bottom, I guess. But anyway, we also learned that 2022 was the year of the century.
It's a bold statement, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
You'll find out what we did in a second. By that we mean there was a 22% rise in cyclists on Strava completing a 100-mile ride at some point throughout this year. Interestingly, the largest rise came right here in the UK. 46% increase in centuries.
Interesting. Now, Strava stats also showed a 26% increase in those using an e-bike to commute to and from work.
And a 100% increase in lanky GCN presenters over the age of 40 breaking a bone whilst using an e-bike. Well, I didn't upload that to Strava, actually.
No, you didn't. You are one of 5% of UK cyclists uploading on e-bikes, by the way. The majority of whom I noticed are over 77 years old.
Oh, really? That's really cool, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Although you lot, watch out for your ankles.
Indeed. Yeah, perhaps the most interesting take home, though, was that in Strava's words, together we go further and stay out longer. Technically, they actually said farther, but being British, I cannot bring myself to say that word in that context.
Has it been a tough few weeks without me here? So I'm a bit grumpy.
You said I've gone grumpy, yeah. It has, Dan, it really has.
What do they mean, though? Well, people who cycle with another person statistically ride for longer than people who ride on their own. 80% more if there is 2 of you, and 120% more if there are 3 or more.
Interestingly though, 2 people together rode for 80% longer, but only went 60% further or farther, suggesting that they're going slower, right? Whereas people, as you might expect, go further and faster when there's 3 or more.
Not too surprising, I guess, when you ride with another person. Ideally, you'd ride side by side and have a nice chat, whereas in a group, you do get that benefit of slipstreaming, and so you can go quicker for less effort.
Yes, Strava also said that in January 2022, cyclists with group activities recorded 87% more activity than their solo counterparts. So does it mean then that we should all try and buddy up?
Well, I guess that depends on whether riding with others is a sign that it helps you ride more, or if it's actually a sign that people who ride more ride with other people.
What?
Did that not make much sense? Is it cause or effect?
Oh, okay, that old chestnut.
Yeah.
Yes, well, personally, right, my rides with others tend to be 100% longer because that's my Saturday morning rides with my mates and the rest of it is riding to and from work. But if I don't go out with my mates, I still go out anyway and do the same length of ride on my own.
As we've said many times on the GCN show, you are completely obsessed, and I suspect not your average user though, Si.
Well,
I think there's something in it though. Ride with other people, ride further, ride faster, and ride more for the more normal user.
Yes. Let us know what you think though. We want anecdotal evidence here as well as the empirical data we've been provided with. Do you ride more /further/faster with others or on your own, and why?
Interested to read those. All right, let's talk Zwift Academy. Firstly, thank you to all of you for watching the episode. It was quite the series, loads of drama and action. And for some of you, there was some controversy there as well.
Yeah, if you've not seen the final episode yet, here is your official spoiler warning, okay? Skip through to the cycling short segment now.
Hurry up.
Okay, that's your warning done. Here we go. A lot of people upset that Chiara didn't win. So, why didn't she? Well, it comes down to the fact that Alex and Chiara are different types of rider. Okay, so Alex is a punchy anaerobic sprinter type, whereas Chiara is a real aerobic climber. Chiara therefore shone in the majority of the challenges because they suited her characteristics. The reason she didn't get selected though was because although she was better than the other finalists in this terrain, she wasn't, the judges felt, good enough to be in the mix at World Tour in that terrain.
Whereas Alex was good enough at climbing to get through World Tour races, but excelled at short, punchy efforts. As the Alpecin de Koning coach, Christoph de Kegel said, 3-minute efforts are the key to winning most races. You looked at my effort the other day on Strava, so I had no
Yeah, you did. Yeah, so if you want to go pro, kids, 1 to 3 minute efforts repeated at the end of hard 5-hour rides are the key. If only I'd known that 20-something years ago.
We spent too much time on our FTP, didn't we?
That's right, yeah.
I don't think you'd have retired earlier, knowing why you weren't able to win races, didn't you?
And now it's time for cycling shorts.
Big news in cycling shorts this week. Mark Cavendish might have found a new team for next year. The rumour mill is in overdrive that he's off to Astana, Kazakhstan.
Kazakh. No, they put Q's in it, but it's still Kazakhstan, the pronunciation.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay.
Anyway, previously he'd been linked to the ill-fated B&B Hotels team, who fell into that age-old trap of having a team without a budget and therefore failing to make it onto the start line and basically having to let all of their riders and staff go.
Yeah, Cav, though, seems to have been offered a lifeline at the expense of Miguel Angel Lopez, who's just been sacked by Astana, Kazakhstan, following links to a dodgy Spanish doctor at the centre of a police investigation into doping.
Rumours also abounded that Ollie Bridgewood was in the mix for Miguel Angel Lopez's spot after he himself was seen at the Astana training camp. But you will have to wait until January to find out what on earth that was all about.
Yeah. After the Geraint Thomas thing, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, one rider laying his cards out last week was Tom Pidcock, not racing cyclocross for once. He was in Mallorca instead and setting a new best time up the prestigious Sacalobra climb.
Which he totally annihilated in terms of the previous best on Strava by nearly 2 minutes. averaging a whopping 6.7 watts per kilo to do so.
My word. Some more racing news now, and there's an interesting development afoot in the US, where a new organisation is currently raising funds for the new National Cycling League based around crit racing.
Yeah, so according to Velo News, they have a load of high-profile backers, including NBA star Bradley Beal, plus a bunch over from the NFL.
Yeah, so the idea is to sprinkle some of that magic dust from the USA's biggest sports franchise, onto our humble world of cycling.
It'll be very interesting to see how all this turns out.
Yeah.
The US crit scene has always been a super cool one, and is very much on the up at the moment. We love talking about crit beef, don't we?
Crit beef.
Yeah, we do, yeah. Load of drama.
Yeah, no wonder we didn't get on in crits, mate, is it? Anyway, one of the main protagonists in the US crit scene is Los Angeles native Dante Young. If you've seen the awesome GCN Plus film LA Heartlands, you will remember him chatting to Russan Bahati. But you should definitely head over to Canyon's YouTube channel now for a very cool 11-minute film about him and his, quite frankly, incredible story and rise to cycling success. But we will give you a sneak peek of it first.
An African American, like, wouldn't say he grew up in the best neighborhood, best area, no mother, no father.
We didn't really have a good environment, so like most of our family were against.
Even just that to start life is like most people from where we're from don't make it out of that.
It's hack /Bodge of the week. It's been weeks since I did that.
I bet it has, mate.
First up this week, Jay Lammert's hose clamp for my seat post. Minutes before the start of an indoor group ride, the bolt of my saddle clamp broke.
Oh.
Luckily, this hose clamp was lying around, added some tape to protect the frame, and on I went. Now it's just a waiting game for a new clamp to arrive.
Who has a hose clamp lying around? Fair play to you. I admire people that have things like hose clips lying around. That's just cool, isn't it?
I probably have got one, there's no chance I'd find it in time for the indoor group session.
Yeah, I know, I put it up there with owning things like chainsaws and snow chains and stuff, something I aspire to. Anyway.
Got a leaf blower.
Yeah, it's not quite I think that's cool. I'm going to say, it's like the equivalent of a roadside hack, isn't it? But for indoor training. So I think that's a hack.
He's determined to do the indoor session. Doesn't look like it's going to damage the frame, especially with the tape underneath it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for hack as well.
Yeah.
But it was almost on the fence, this one. Only 53% voted that hack, and obviously 47% bodge.
Yeah, well, I hope your new seat clamp has duly arrived now and you don't have to have because that looks like it might scratch your thigh, doesn't it?
Yeah, mine wouldn't get close enough to be scratched.
Your new ankle would though when you get on. Right, anyway, Scotty Brom, next up, the Pain Cave clock. Had a few bits knocking around, so decided to make this clock to help me keep track of the time in the Pain Cave. Ooh, big mistake. Actually, no, not anymore. I'd say the mistake was in the old days to try and keep track of time in your Pain Cave because time stood still. But yeah, now actually, it's not a problem. So no, fair play. I think that's a really nice bit of work.
The ultimate indoor training clock would be one that goes at double speed, wouldn't it? Life does seem to slow down.
Seen a bit of wear, that chain ring though, isn't it?
Well, he's not going to use a new one, is he? Too expensive.
How many bolts has it got on? What is that? Where's it from? Crazy. Anyway, there we go.
So I was very intrigued by the make of the chain.
Looking at the and the bolt circle diameter. That's unusual. I've never seen one like that before.
No.
What are you going to say?
I'm going to say hack.
I'm going to say hack. I think that's cool. 79% of you lot say hack as well, so that's pretty good, isn't it?
Moving on, Joanna Marseille. Making prescription bike shades. I wanted or needed prescription lenses in my biking shades, but I can't afford them. The ready-made prescription bike eyewear. So using the lenses out of a pair of my old regular glasses, I stuck them on the inside of my bike shades with small dots of Sugru moldable glue, keeping a few millimeters from the glass of the shades to get a mild anti-fogging effect. Works a treat.
I like this very much, Dan, because unfortunately I went to the opticians, well, it was about a year ago now, and they broke the news to me that basically I'm getting old.
Christ, I didn't see that coming.
Anyway, and so they were basically like, I've got to that point where I need to have multiple pairs of glasses for anything that I want to do. And I haven't got prescription shades yet, but that looks like I could fit them in my enormous welding goggles.
Yes, you could fit probably 2 or 3.
What are they? They're called bifocals, aren't they?
Yes, you could read your head unit, look a long way ahead.
There you go.
This is like a dream come true.
It is, yeah. I like it. That's a hack from me. Brilliant.
Well, I'm going to say Bodge. Don't need them.
Do you know?
No, I'll say hack.
Do you not need glasses yet?
No.
Yeah, not as long as you look them.
Eyes are the one thing that seems to be doing all right still to this day. I've probably spoken too soon.
There we go. Yeah. All right.
No, I will say hack.
82% of you lot said that's a hack as well. Not enough is spoken about prescription eyewear for cycling. Maybe we'll do some investigation.
I'd love to see you with like double eyewear underneath your eyewear. That'd be fantastic. Moving on, pack 2. Christmas lights ride. This is how I decorated my bike for our Bike Delights nighttime ride here in Omaha, Nebraska in the States.
There's Omaha in it.
Omaha, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a history over the last 10 years of mispronunciations of most things actually, so I might as well continue the tradition.
Particularly in America though, I seem to remember. Anyway.
And Columbia. What was it? Bogota? Anyway, the reindeer bounced while I rode, so it looked like they were prancing. We had 30 bikes on the ride. We stopped at decorated houses on the route and sang Christmas songs while we drank some Christmas cheer.
How cool is that? I love that. Why on earth would 19% of you lot say that was a bodge? This is about Christmas cheer. Scrooges, a lot of you.
It does look good, doesn't it?
Bar humbug. Yeah, I think that's a hack.
I mean, I've had a lot of time over recent weeks to spend on Instagram Reels, and one of my favourite things is those dogs that have got the outfit where when they're running towards you, they look like a human being. They're great, aren't they? You might remind me a little bit of that.
I don't get served that on Instagram yet, so you might have to share one with me.
No, it's amazing how it learned. Pretty much all of my Reels are dogs now.
Is that right? I get served big wave surfing, which is something I've not particularly
Kids got hold of your phone, have they?
I've never done it, clearly, but yeah, Giants of Nazaré. Honestly, you want to get onto that?
Well, let us know what you're served on the Instagram Reels in the comment section just down below. No, thank you all for your hacks and bodges once again. We've got one more set to go through this time next week. But if you'd like to get voting ready for that show, they're all up on the app now.
You make it sound like that's the end of Hack or Bodge. We mean for 2022.
Ah, yes, sorry.
They'll be back in 2023, because my week would be poorer for us if they were not.
We haven't come up with any other ideas, have we?
Well, why would we? I love it.
No, I love it as well. Christ, we're... Let's move on.
Yeah. It's time now for Caption Competition, that part of the show where you get a chance to get your hands on a coveted GCN Elite water bottle. All you got to do is put a witty caption in the comment section down below that relates to a photo we will give you in just a second after the results from last week.
Yeah, this was the photo that we gave you, and the winning caption came in from Mailman. The Zwift beta test of real-world route completion was a total success.
See what you did there?
Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah, I like that.
Make sure you get in touch with us on Facebook via a message, Mailman, with your address, and we'll get the bottle sent out to you.
I don't think this is their first victory.
No, I remember Mailman.
Absolutely, yeah. So, well, yeah. I mean, get in touch again, just in case, like, we misplaced your address or something like that. But anyway.
This week's photo comes from the latest round of the UCI Cyclocross World Cup, which took place in the ski resort of Val di Sole. I will get you started. Snow joke. They're all looking very sullen there on the start line, aren't they?
They are.
Cold, miserable. And actually, Van der Poel was out of sorts, as we said earlier, wasn't he?
Well, that's right. Van der Poel is just silently bricking it, isn't he, at that point?
Well, he was. Well, I don't blame him, to be honest, because Fem Van Empel had a couple of nasty crashes, one in practice, one in a race. Thankfully, doesn't seem to have had any fractures. But the same for her teammate, Ellie Isabeth. So the two World Cup leaders had nasty falls. And with the compact snow, ice, basically, if it did come off, I know.
You know exactly what would happen.
I know exactly how they feel.
Absolutely, yeah. That's brutal, isn't it? Anyway, there we go. Right, get involved in the comment section down below. Can you improve? Well, even if you can't improve on Snow Joke, get involved because we will pick a winner next week. We will shortly let you know what we've got coming up for you on the channel over the next week. But first up, as ever, a few of our favourite comments from last week's video, starting underneath last week's show, which was all about expensive bike disasters, wasn't it? It was indeed, yes. Midgets. I started cycling a couple of years ago. I'll never financially recover from this. Yes, it's true. It is true.
Well, it's not only an expensive sport, it's thoroughly addictive as well, isn't it? I mean,
Well,
I think
that's
that's in many respects why it's become the new golf, because you can spend inordinate amount of money on bling-looking stuff.
I know, but it's just so nice, isn't
It
it?
does, yeah, and it's a bit better than what you've currently got, always. Anyway, we also had this from Dave Pratt 9909. With the size of size shades, I'm surprised that the car behind him wasn't totaled.
No, they're not the enormous ones that have now got 4 pairs of prescription glasses sellotape to the inside. They were the ones before that were quite large but not ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
I'm upset that they went, to be honest with you. It was bad. Anyway, user IH8CW3CF1V, good lord, said, can we all club together to get Hank some decorations for his tree? Yeah, that's a good point, actually. It does look a bit sorry for itself, doesn't it? Or is it just minimalist, maybe?
Yeah, maybe he likes it as it is.
Yeah,
I don't want you to club together to buy many decorations. We shall ask him.
Yeah.
Italy in a day, 270k coast to coast epic ride.
That was a good vid, that.
Tim9666 put, it looks bigger in pictures though. Yes, story of my life, my friend. I absolutely cracked up at this one, said Tim.
Oh yeah, that was good. Phil G said, one of GCN's best. Great ride, stunning scenery, couple of mates having fun. Oh, and Mama's house footy. Yes. What a way to finish. Going to Alan Marangone's mum's house for some of Mama's cooking. It's pretty cool, that.
I've just become distinctly aware that from the moment I said that my eyesight is actually fine, I've been squinty ever since. But this is a really small font that we've got pasted in here, isn't it? The last one in terms of comments this week comes in from OMFG. I thought I could figure out what that meant, but the rest of it is WTFGGFTW. Answer in the comment section below. Anyway, what they say
I've got it up to GGFTW.
Well, you've done very well.
Something for the win. It's the GG bit I haven't got.
Okay, well, anyway.
Probably rude.
They put, Ollie, I'm not going to drop you. One shot later, Alan has dropped epic ride.
Well, I noticed that when I watched it as well. Ollie's like, no, this isn't that type of ride. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna drop you, Alan. And then literally the next shot, Alan's in the distance behind Ollie.
Well, given what Ollie's been through in the past, he will take every opportunity he can to drop somebody else, won't he?
Well, absolutely.
And actually he can now, almost at will.
Almost, indeed, yeah.
Even after claiming he wasn't going to be doing that and it wasn't that sort of ride. Anyway, what we've got coming up for you this week is on Wednesday, we are going to show you how to ride in the wind. Now, neither of us know the details of this, but I'm going to assume that that also includes group dynamics. And I would say that is the easiest and simplest way to making your ride easier if you're not experienced on a bike. It makes such a huge difference to know where to ride in the wind when you're with other people.
You only have to look at Strava's data. That shows that how much faster people go when they're a group compared to when they're a two.
And on Thursday, we're going to meet the man who's ridden 1 million vertical meters in 2022. I mean, that is a challenge and a half, isn't it? How many Everestings is that per week?
Well, he's done literally one Everesting a week, I believe, on one day. And then I think it has to average out, I think I kind of did some maths a while back, but I think it's like 3,000 meters a day, isn't it?
Well,
roughly.
That sounds horrific.
That sounds horrific, doesn't it? Anyway, there we go. What kind of man is he? Find out on Thursday. Friday, speaking of grim, Connor and Hank took Alex bikepacking in the depths of winter. And this is what happened. And we're not just talking about British winters here. Like, it was actually properly cold. So I can't wait to see what happened there. On Saturday, Connor and Alex were investigating how long it takes to burn off your Christmas calories and why actually it's a whole load of rubbish anyway. And then on Christmas Day?
Yes, Sunday.
Bloopers! It's the annual bloopers.
Do love a good blooper. Probably not me in there this year because I made no mistakes whatsoever.
No, me neither.
In terms of GCN Plus and racing, there is one cyclocross race for you to watch on Friday. It's the Exact Cross. It's available to watch worldwide except for Belgium. But after Christmas, it is a very busy period, as we mentioned earlier on, for cyclocrossers. No mince pies and mineral waters on the sofa for them on Christmas Day, because on Boxing Day, it's the next round of the World Cup, and there are a further 3 or 4 races over the following week, including on New Year's Day. So if you like cyclocross, plenty to watch on GCN Plus.
It's another thing that sets cross races out as the hardest of the hardcore. The fact that on Boxing Day, they're racing in the most grim weather known to cyclists.
No. Well, again, I know how they feel, because I used to do the Boxing Day 10 with much success over the years.
There we go. And don't forget as well, GCN Plus has another cracking film. I say cracking film. High minute. GCN Plus has got another film out this week. You be the judge of whether it's any good or not. But do please check it out, because basically we took our perfect replica of Eddie Merckx's 1969 race bike, and I tried to emulate his heroics through the Pyrenees, and it was genuinely one of the hardest things I've ever had.
There's a specific
to do.
stage, wasn't it, from 1969, from Luchon to Morench, was it?
Morant, yeah.
Morant?
It was the day that cemented the legend of the cannibal, where, having already sewn up the Tour de France, he decided to go on a rampage and put 10 minutes into everyone in a solo break through the mountains.
Well, if you watch it, because it's out today on GCN Plus, you'll be able to find out whether it cemented the demise of Cy Richardson, or even if he didn't even make it to the finish. We don't know. Right, well, that's all for this week's GCN show. Been great to be back, I've got to say.
It has been great having you back, Dan. We've all missed you, haven't we? See you next week.
Cue silence.